evening. Welcome back to another episode of Cam and Focus Weekly. I'm Cam. With me, as he typically is, over here is Mr. Andrew. How are you?
I'm doing good. I'm actually launching my own show called Andrew Out of Focus. Um,
The camera's all blurry. You
yeah.
can't topic.
I will be streaming 144p, so highest quality I could do.
No,
So
see, what you have to do, like, make yourself a name for your show that's 4 words long, but have it be an anagram for ADHD.
that's a good idea.
And Andrew does
Andrew
it.
does have HD, high
Uh,
definition.
Dopamine. I don't know.
Yeah, right.
And with me,
Man.
right down here, is Mr. Spencer. How are you? Good to have you.
I'm doing all right. Good to be here.
All right. Yeah, I heard you're recovering from a little bit of a little bug you had over.
I am. Today's the first day that I'm feeling completely fine, so that's good.
Well, that's good. I'm certainly glad that you're feeling well enough to be here. I certainly
appreciate it.
Today, if you missed our stream last week, we discussed Thunderbolts. This week, we are doing a bit of a deep dive. This is going to be our topic discussion. We're going to be going into John Wick, or the universe of John Wick, should say. Now, John Wick, the 4 movies are directed by Chad Stahelski, who, if you don't know, he's an ex-stuntman himself. He worked with Keanu Reeves on The Matrix. He's very accomplished when it comes to stunt work and the filming of. So a movie like this is right up his alley. The first John Wick came out, I believe, back in 2014, and it was a freaking phenomenon. You know, well, you watch the trailers for it. It looks like just another, dime a dozen action, revenge, shoot 'em up type of deal. But that movie endeavored to be a little something more, and we'll definitely get into that as we go along here. Andrew, what was your first experience with the John Wick movies?
So it was not long, I believe, after I watched the Matrix trilogy, at the time at least, that I was starting to get into like Keanu Reeves and his stuff. And my uncle, who introduced me to the Matrix, told me about John Wick. And so I went and watched it. This was before the 4th one came out. And I loved them all. I was like, oh, this is great. Like, because usually, and we talked about this in our action topic episode, that sometimes when you watch an action movie, there's not a whole lot of plot or world building going on. You're there for the hits and the pound, the cool, the zing, and that's cool sometimes. But what I really appreciated about these movies is it had all that, and it was authentic, and Keanu Reeves doing most of his stunts, and there was also a ton of world building in these movies that made it even more interesting on top of that. And because the 4th one's my favorite action movie at the moment. And so, yeah, just really good, consistently good series. It's not a bad movie in the series, in my opinion, at least. I haven't seen a Continental, so I can't speak for that. But as far as the movies go, all really good to great to amazing.
I agree. How about you, Spencer? What was your first John Wick experience?
I remember catching up for when John Wick 3 came out. Well, like I didn't watch it like when 3 came out, but I remember that was roughly when I got into it. There's all the talk of 3, so I made sure to track down watching the first 2 John Wick movies, and I don't remember. I don't think I saw 3 in theaters, although there's a chance I did. I genuinely don't remember. But point is, though, is because of John Wick 3, I made sure to catch up on them, and I thought they were all great. I actually remember 3 when I first watched it. I was like, this is just okay. I didn't really like it as much as the first 2. But then after actually for rewatching it for leading up to John Wick 4, I was like, oh, this movie's a lot better than what I remembered it being.
Sure.
And so I liked it a lot more. And then going into 4, I absolutely love 4. And that's my personal favorite of them. I actually went to go see that one twice. I saw that one twice because I liked it.
Nice. That was one I didn't get to catch in the theaters, but I wish I had.
Yeah, it's so good.
Good theater experience.
Actually, since we're talking about it, John Wick 4 was actually a special theater experience for me. The first time I went to go see it, because it was opening Friday. I think it was a Friday night showing I went to. Yeah, it was a Friday night showing I went to. What was awesome about it is that it was happening the same weekend. Was I live in Kentucky, and so there's this Lexington Comic and Toy Con is like the big convention here. It's like a really nice medium-sized con. And what was awesome about that convention is that one of my good online friends, he came and visited. He drove down that Friday night, and no joke, he picked me up, and we dropped off all this stuff at this hotel, and then we went to go see John Wick 4,
Nice.
which was it was a fantastic experience. So it was a lot of fun doing that, and so that was just really cool to being able to spend time with him was a lot of fun, and he watched all the John Wick movies for his first time and everything. So it was one of those just like special, like cool experiences, and so that was awesome. But so I wouldn't say obviously not the main reason why I'm like, oh yeah, I love John Wick 4, but
Switch is like the action's fine, Yeah.
But so special experiences do help, I think, with special things like that. So, but little side story there.
Yeah.
So.
I'm curious, Spencer, just real quick, because you mentioned it. Where in Kentucky do you live?
Nearby Lexington.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say.
Cam's trying to leak his location.
No, I was curious because I live in Clarksville, Tennessee, so I wasn't sure how far away that would be, but we got to look up one of these days.
Not a terrible drive overall. But yeah.
Yeah, the only John Wick movie that I've seen in the theater is a John Wick related movie. That's Ballerina.
Gotcha.
Which was still a fun experience in the theater.
Oh yeah, Ana de Armas so much ass.
So going into it, and I don't know why I was like, can she do action convincingly? After watching this, I was like, no, she's an action star. Get her in any. Because also too, I was rewatching some of it today. I didn't get to watch all of it, but my inner Cam was coming out. I was actually watching the action scenes, and I could see her face with the cuts, and I was like, oh, she's actually doing the stunts. Yeah. And I was like, that's so cool.
Yeah, and we will definitely get into Ballerina a little bit later, because I do have a few things I want to say about that movie. Now John Wick kind of revolutionized action cinema in the West. But before that, we had The Raid, which, if you haven't seen The Raid, it was an action film that I think came out in 2011, maybe.
I'm on it.
It was filmed, I think, over in Singapore.
Yeah, 2011.
Or somewhere similar. And when that movie came out, it was incredible. Everybody was talking about the action because it was so raw, and it was you could see the steady camera, the long takes, the dynamic movement whenever characters were going back and forth. Just really great stuff. But it didn't make quite the waves in the West that I think that it wanted to. It certainly gained a good amount of fame over here, but typically whenever people think of action cinema in North America, they think of John Wick. And prior to that, it was The Matrix. Mm-hmm. But John Wick came out at an interesting time for me, because I, at the time, was really just starting to get into looking at film critically and analytically. Mm-hmm. And I was kind of burnt out on action leading up to it. The Taken trilogy had just gotten worse and worse and worse as time. Colombiana, I watched that. About it.
I haven't even seen. I saw just that one little scene you shared with me, and I'm like, that's enough for me to go. Ugh.
And you also had the Bourne films, which the Bourne Identity, when it came out, it was incredible. I loved it. And then Bourne Supremacy and Bourne Ultimatum kind of doubled down on that method of shaky cam, quick cut work, and it kind of set an unhealthy precedent for action cinema moving forward. John Wick was one of the first action movies that came out in the West in the last couple of decades that just it blew everybody away with how the action films, with the stunt work. With an actor who does his stunts, Keanu Reeves. He does about 90% of them, except for the hard falls he takes.
Mm-hmm.
it's incredible.
Which makes sense with his age. I don't blame him for not. I couldn't even handle those.
No.
But interesting thing that I learned, just because at the time John Wick came out, I was 9. Sorry if that makes anyone feel old, but I wasn't like critically looking at movies or like self-aware movies at the time.
Ooh,
That
right.
exactly. That Keanu Reeves was kind of at a sort of low. I don't want to say low point in his career, but he was big in the '90s, and then he hadn't really had a hit in the sense that what we call a hit. And then John Wick comes out, and now he's back to being a A-lister, you could say.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, but before John Wick, we had that movie 47 Ronin, which
I need to watch that.
It's not a terrible movie, but is a very it's a painfully mediocre movie. There's a lot of missed opportunities, a lot of risks that should have been taken.
Isn't there a sequel to it? Am I wrong in thinking that?
I think it was either straight to DVD or made for TV, but it's like
that sounds like cinema right there.
Well, I mean, how could you make a sequel out of that?
Yeah, well, thanks for spoiling the movie.
Well,
honestly, I know that's what they do. So, like,
you don't have to watch that movie. But 47 Ronin kind of marked that low point of Keanu Reeves' career. He wasn't the big star that he was back when The Matrix came out, because back then he had Matrix, he had Speed, Point Break, Constantine. I mean, the guy was on a roll.
Bram Stoker's Dracula. Forgot about that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And you're right, Andrew. John Wick came out, and it brought Keanu Reeves right back to the forefront of Hollywood.
And that's what was I gonna say? Well, what a great guy for that to happen to. I mean, when you think about Keanu Reeves, and like, I know we're not here just talking about Keanu Reeves, but like everything that's happened to him in his life between just his personal life and the fact that he's still as humble as he is, and he doesn't let it get to his head, and exactly. But all I was saying is that it's just cool that his career didn't stay low like that. You know, it got revived. He was back. You know.
Yeah.
This 47 Ronin movie does not look good at all. I'm just looking at it. I'm like,
it's not a good movie. Wrong. It's worth watching.
Can we please watch that instead of the movie we were talking about watching next week? Because I really don't want to watch that movie. I really don't. And it's all because I had a brain fart and a mispronunciation, all right? Otherwise, we never would have heard that movie. So let's just pretend that, like...
I have no idea how many people have shared that trailer, too.
Oh, gosh. I feel bad for them. Oh, 47 Ronin's on Netflix. So, yeah, let's just... yeah.
I mean, we can do 47 Ronin if you want. I've suffered through it, but we can certainly talk about that after the show.
Yeah.
I'm convincing. A little bit of, grease palm. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, and as far as John Wick goes, I think... So I'm curious, Cam, because I was not aware... I wasn't following the series up until right before John Wick 4 came out. When the movies were coming out, was it like... So, like, when John Wick 2 came out, was it like, all right, we're going to have a John Wick 3, or was it a wait-and-see kind of thing?
I don't recall. The ending of John Wick 2 is definitely sequel bait.
Yeah, that's why I was curious. Yeah.
But I don't remember if that film had gotten greenlit before or after release, or if a trilogy had gotten greenlit after the release of one.
Because I know the entire timeline of the 4 movies is like a couple weeks at most.
Not necessarily, actually. So from the beginning of 1 to the end of 3 is about my estimate is about 3 or 4 weeks.
I forgot there's that time jump between 3 and 4.
But then 4 takes place, according to sources online. I don't know how reliable, but the common consensus is that it takes place about 8 months after the end of 3.
That makes sense.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense now that I think about it.
Time to recover.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, well, yeah, so 1 through 3. So that's why I was just curious. Like, I wonder if they had that mapped out. Like, all right, if the first one does well, like, all right, we've got it, because it certainly felt like it, you know, because the world building didn't seem like just because, like, it definitely felt like there was a plan and they took the time to really think it out. And I love movies that take world building seriously.
Yes.
So, because you really get into it and you're like, oh, all this stuff, you know.
They don't sit down and explain the world to you. Information is presented as it becomes relevant to the story.
Yes.
Like the rules of the Continental, the one-on-one duel for the high table. That was
Mm-hmm.
it
wasn't like Winston just sat down with John and was saying all the stuff like, you know,
as you know, blah, blah,
as
blah.
you know, the wedding, you know, yeah. Well, even, and I know we'll get to it in a little bit, so I won't touch too much on it, but even Ballerina, it's one of those, we're kind of learning it as we follow Eve. So like the Roma, I think that's how you pronounce it.
Riskaroma.
Yeah, we learn what that is when she asks. So it's not like a character just sat her down. It's like, let me tell you a story. She asks, what is this? And the character lady explains it to her. So it's like, all right, it's not, you know, unnecessary, you know, once upon a time.
Well, especially with the character of John Wick, when you have a character who's so man of few words, it makes story through dialogue a whole lot easier to work around because these conversations are pretty one-sided. You know, Keanu Reeves doesn't talk a whole lot. You know, the filmmakers kind of leave you to read into what he says and interpret the larger meaning of what he says.
And I feel like only someone of Keanu Reeves' acting caliber could do that, because even when he says something simple like yeah, sometimes he says the tone a little bit differently, and his face kind of says it a little bit differently, that there's a difference between like, yeah, he's agreeing and yeah, he's about to kill you kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like, but that's very hard to portray and make it come across that way.
It's very hard for a man to make the word yeah come out in 2 syllables, but Keanu Reeves does it.
Yeah. You know.
Yeah.
But you know, every time I'm about to get a haircut, I always hesitate because I'm like, I could look like John Wick if I waited like a month or two. You know? Maybe for Halloween, I won't cut my hair till Halloween. I can be John Wick.
Yeah,
just give me your candy.
Around in a suit and hold a pencil in your hand.
Yeah.
I think that was a costume idea for one of the last times I seriously considered. Actually, I think I was going to do that at Comic-Con because I was like, how funny would it be?
Yeah.
But funny story, actually. I have a picture of this, but the first Comic-Con that I ever went to, I think it was 2017. I went there, and as I'm walking in, like I'm not even in the convention itself yet. I'm just in the building. I'm walking in, and a guy passes me, and I straight up thought it was Keanu Reeves. I mean,
wow.
He had hair, he had the beard, he had the suit. He was as tall as Keanu Reeves, same build, same structure. I was like, holy shit, Keanu Reeves is in my convention. But it turned out it was somebody cosplaying John Wick, and I took a picture with him, and his pose is standing here with a pencil in his hand.
Oh, that's cool. I had that at a Fan Expo this year. I was walking in the crowd, and I could have sworn for a split second I saw Robert Downey Jr. in the suit, and I was like, what the heck? And then I realized it wasn't, but the cosplay was so good. Out of the corner of my eyes, I'm like, what the heck? You know, because there were a couple celebrities there that weren't guests, but they were just there walking around. So I was like, no way he would be here. Like,
yeah.
You know.
Well,
that's not as bad as my Wonder Woman incident.
I was just at a convention a few weeks ago, like 2 weeks ago or so, and it was over in Chattanooga, and I was standing in line to talk to a voice actor, and one of the guys in front of me, he's wearing a trench coat, he's got the short hair, he's got the bandage over the nose. He looked exactly like Ryan Gosling in Blade Runner 2049.
Oh, wow.
I thought that was Ryan Gosling, and I looked closer. I knew it wasn't, but I was like, "Are you dressed up as Kay?" And he's like, "Dude, first one to get that." I was like, "Oh my god, my favorite film!"
Dude, that's so cool, and I am so disappointed in everyone else there at the convention that they didn't recognize him. Because come on, how do you not? Like,
speaking of characters, the John Wick films have no shortage of a colorful cast of characters. Yeah, you have Sharon, who's the concierge for the Continental in New York. You have Winston.
Oh, rest in peace.
Yeah. Yes. Rest in peace, Lance Reddick. We loved you. You were one of the best movies. It sucks you're gone.
Yeah.
Yeah, you had the adjudicator in John Wick 3. You had the harbinger in John Wick 4. You had the marquis. You have Kane. I mean, just so many characters with so much rich depth and history. Not one character in these movies feel like they were just put there for that movie. And like everybody
Mhm.
has history. Everybody has a place in this universe. And that's just a testament to the truly outstanding writing for these movies. To have all these characters build off of each other from movie to movie to movie and have it continue to feel consistent within this universe.
Mhm. Well, and that's something that all these movies do so well is they build off of each other. So
Yeah.
I feel like, in my opinion, I think each movie improves upon the last. Obviously, John Wick 4 now is in a league of its own. It's going to be hard to beat that.
Sure.
But in my opinion, especially on rewatch, because I rewatched all of them before Ballerina, they just kept getting better. And that's crazy because, like, you watch the first one and you're like, well, how can it get better than this? This is so good. Then you watch John Wick 2, which I know is not a popular one, but even that one's like, okay, they definitely improved on things here. I still like the first one a little bit more, but
Yeah.
I can see where they improve upon it. And then by the time, get to John Wick 3, the world building is so good and the action just improves. And then, like I said, John Wick 4. So, yeah, like I said, every character you meet, you're about to learn more about the universe. And their character fits that, like we said, it's not unnecessary exposition. There's a
Right.
reason they've planned it out. They're like, there's a reason why Keanu Reeves is meeting this character,
Mm.
And you really get a sense for the history between characters just with how they interact with each other. Like, it's something as simple as someone looking at John Wick and saying, "Be seeing you."
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's such a simple line for a character to read off, but there's a lot of implication behind it, and it really adds to the overall feeling of, I guess you would say, community for this underground league of assassins, hitmen, agents, whatever you want to call them, and that's not something that I recall ever having seen in action cinema ever, really.
Yeah. Well, like I said, most of the time, and I fall into this when I'm turning on an action movie, I'm going, all right, there's not going to be a lot of plot here, or it's going to be very, and I've actually heard from people too that aren't a fan of the John Wick movies, and they go, yeah, there's not a plot or anything. I'm just watching for the action. I'm like, are we
Oh,
watching the same movies? Like, even
yeah,
if, like, I don't know, but like, for instance, like Atomic Blonde, which was like a Timu John Wick.
sure.
Um, it the plot was not the strong point. The action was good, don't get me wrong, but
Yeah,
the plot itself was kind of,
all over. Yeah.
yeah. And I think the reason why, I don't know where I was going with that, but I'm just saying that usually when you watch an action movie, it's just for the action, which sometimes pays off. Sometimes the action is so good you don't care about the plot, but you get a full plate with these movies,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
that's what makes them so good. So
Now, on the topic of the action, this movie has no shortage of insane action set. Every movie in the John Wick universe has at least one action set piece that you could classify
mhm.
as iconic to the series. Now, I'm going to ask you, starting with Andrew, between the four movies and Ballerina, what would you say has your favorite action set piece overall?
Dang, that's tough. Should have told me this pre-show so I could prepare.
If it
I
helps, I can answer
I
if
was
you
gonna
need
say
more.
I have, if you want, because I have a basic answer, but I want to come up with a good answer.
Yeah, go ahead, Spencer.
All right. If you remember, in John Wick 4, there was this amazing part where he entered in one of the buildings, and the next thing we know, the camera goes up into a bird's eye view.
Mm-hmm.
That is the
Yeah.
standout for me personally, where I think it just did something really unique there. If I remember it right, the main inspiration there being from a game called Hotline Miami was the main vibe they're trying to go off of there. And so I just remember seeing that, and my mind was blown, and I was like,
Yeah.
I mean, I loved the movie up until then, but like
Mhm.
that was the moment that I remember for me solidified. I was like, this might just very well be the best ever action movie that I've at least seen to date.
And
that helped me because, oh, sorry.
Well, I was gonna say, like the best thing about it, besides the awesome choreography, and besides the fact that they brought back the song "LED Spirals" from John Wick 1, but when that scene starts off, it's all done in one take. When that scene starts, it starts off on John Wick, so you can see it's Keanu Reeves all throughout that scene.
Yeah,
and I looked. I watched that scene like a hawk. I did not see any hidden cuts. I didn't see any camera editing trickery or anything like that. It just seems like it's Keanu Reeves from very beginning to very end, and that is damn impressive.
It really is. It just everything with that scene is just like mind blowing, and like I said, I just remember watching it. And I was just like, holy crap! And not saying that there's not other great action scenes. I think every movie has multiple great parts that really stands out action wise. Sure. But for me, it's like when I think John Wick best action scene, that's what goes right into my. That's the one that's there, and it's like I can only imagine the amount of work, and imagine having to build a set like that too, where you're almost building something that's like a Pac-Man maze that you're shooting. Like it's just insane.
And just imagine, like, if just one guy falls out of time or something like that, that whole scene is ruined. Got to start all over.
Yeah,
it's crazy. I can't imagine. But yeah, there's my pick.
All right, Andrew, have you been able to?
Yeah, I did. It took me a minute, but ditto. So no, I'm kidding. So I have two answers because I have a favorite shot of an action scene and then a favorite action scene. So my favorite shot from an action scene, this was kind of my basic answer, but it's in John Wick 4 when he makes it up to the top of the stairs and the guy kicks him or pushes him down, and it's that one shot of him just falling down because he took him it was like a one shot of 2 minutes of him going up all the steps, and then he's knocked all the way back down to the end. So I really like that shot. My favorite action scene, just off the top of my head, I believe it's in 3. He's fighting these guys, and it's a shot from the side. I'm blanking on the characters' names, but they were all bald. I don't remember what they're like. I'm blanking on their names, but also too, the one where I think it's in 4 where he's fighting the big guy. He's chasing him through the club, and the guy keeps falling, and it's like, will this dude die? And even though the scene just about gives me a seizure, it looks cool. I'm blanking on the one from 3 because I'm trying to describe it because it's shot from the side, and he's fighting the guys, and he has the pencils as he's fighting through them, because there's the guy. It goes on for a while between him and this guy, and then eventually he kills him. I gotta see if I can look up and find at least a picture.
Well, was it when he was fighting those the two Indonesian guys towards the end?
I think I found it. It's the assassin fight scene. So they're hunting him down.
Oh yeah. Oh, it's like the montage of him fighting the different assassins.
Yeah, I thought that was cool. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but then there's also, I don't know if he was the leader of the assassins, but it's towards the end they had a fight scene in that glass room.
Yeah, so he wasn't. He was kind of a leader of a certain group of assassins. It was ninjas, basically.
That's right. Okay.
That character's name was Zero, played by
that's right.
Mark Dacascos, and
okay. So that
character too.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I could pick a favorite scene from each movie if I had to, but yeah, I mean, that's the thing is just when you start to think favorite, you realize how many good action scenes there are, and then it's hard to pick just one.
My answer for that question is kind of twofold as well. I have a favorite action set piece, but then I also have a favorite moment within an action set piece. So
nice.
My favorite set piece is definitely the club in Berlin, in John Wick 4 when he's going after Keela Harkin. From the moment he gets there and they have that game of cards with
yes,
and Mr. Nobody. To the very end, whenever he pulls the tooth out of Keela's mouth, That's like my absolute favorite action set piece in the entire series. But there's one moment. There's a moment in John Wick 1 that truly cemented how much I would adore that movie moving forward, because at the time they didn't have the sequel yet.
Yeah.
And it's whenever John Wick is infiltrating the Red Circle Club looking for Yosef Tarasov, and one of the Russian agents gets off his comm and says, "Yep, all clear." And John Wick is hiding in the corner. They scuffle for about 2 seconds, and John Wick puts his hand over the guy's mouth, stabs his knife up under his chin, and as the guy's falling down, he's just staring into his eyes. I mean, that is a ripping out your soul with my eyes stare if I've ever seen one.
Well, you know what they say about John Wick? He's the guy you call to kill the boogeyman.
Yeah. Now, and a funny thing about that, though, so the Baba Yaga isn't actually the boogeyman in real life. It's a mistranslation from a Slavic myth where the Baba Yaga is actually a witch that lures children to their death.
Oh, jeez.
But there's a lot of, especially in Russian, that there's quite a few mistranslations there that aren't egregious, but they're just not correct. And the filmmakers openly admitted, yeah, we called him the Baba Yaga just because it sounds cooler. But I mean, you know, John Wick universe, you know, super hyper stylized. Who's to say that in that universe, Baba Yaga doesn't mean boogeyman? I mean,
right? Yeah. You know, it's Kroll. You know.
Exactly. Why did they switch the words meanings around?
Who cares? Yeah. Someone probably does.
The first John Wick movie does such a fantastic job of setting up what kind of character he is. Everybody remembers, you know, the big monologue scene of that fucking nobody was John Wick. I once saw him in a bar with a pencil. Everybody remembers that. But if you think back to earlier in the movie, the first scene that we get that really shows the kind of person he is when he is out on that airstrip in his Mustang, and he's doing circles around the airstrip and getting his rear bumper as close to those excavators as he can, or bulldozers, whatever they are. And then he guns it towards one of them, slams on the brakes, and stops about that far from it. I mean that's funny thing is that's Keanu Reeves doing the driving.
Oh wow!
Because Keanu Reeves is a stunt driver as well. So a lot of the scenes in these movies where he's driving all crazy and shooting out the window, that's Keanu Reeves doing the shit.
You know, one thing that made me realize what I love so much about the first one is it starts where it ends.
Yeah.
I think that's really cool. Because when it starts, you're like, what the heck's going on? You know, how did he get here? But then when it ends, and I love that whole car scene with that guy. What's his name? It's like the guy he kills. It starts with an I, right? Or is that his son?
The son is Yosef. Starts with an I, and the father is Vigo.
Okay. What's his dad's name?
Ego.
That's right. Okay, so the scene he has at the end of the movie with Ego, I thought that's a highlight for me. So
yeah, well, whenever he and his underling, I guess, are in the car trying to escape, and his underling is like, give me a gun, and Vigo holds the gun out, and when the underling goes to reach for it, he kind of jerks it away.
Yeah.
So he knows his life is over, so he's just gonna have a bit of fun in his last moments.
Yeah. It's a way to do it. Yeah.
Yeah. Now, with a character like John Wick, a lot of people have complained that he feels like a nothing character. He feels like there's nothing to him. And I don't agree with that sentiment at all, but I understand the complaint. You know, well, when you're used to a big action star like Sylvester Stallone, Arnold Schwarzenegger, Jackie Chan, Jet Li, Tom Cruise. I mean, you expect, you know, a certain amount of personality with your main character because it adds to the theater of it all.
Mm-hmm.
But Keanu Reeves as John Wick is very stone-faced. Man of few words, doesn't say much. He only says what words need to be said in order to convey a meaning. But you can tell from the shot, from everything from the shot composition to the lighting to the editing, you can see that the filmmakers do a lot to try and show you that there's a lot going on under the surface.
Mm-hmm.
And if I were to have one serious complaint, well, not serious, but one complaint with the movies after 2, is that from 3 and 4, John Wick doesn't really have any kind of burst of emotion like he did in the first 2 films. In the first one, the first time we see him really get emotional is when he's reading the letter from his wife, when the dog. The second time is when he's pounding the sledgehammer down into the floor of his basement, and he's just screaming as he's slamming that down. The third time is when he starts to yell at Vigo, saying, "Your son took that from me."
Mm-hmm.
In John Wick 2, we do get one moment of emotion. It's blink and you miss it, but it's there. It's whenever he arrives in, I think, I forget exactly where this place is, but he's contracted to kill Santino D'Antonio's sister. He goes to the vault to pick up his backup supplies, and when he opens it up, he sees his pistol, he sees his jacket in there, and he kind of looks at it for a moment and just like slams the box down and screams.
Mm-hmm.
I really wish that we had gotten that, like some form of emotional outburst in 3 and 4.
I wonder if that was done intentionally.
I don't know.
Because in 1 and 2, he's still working his way back into this world. Like, he doesn't want to be in this world, but he's doing it for vengeance, and then he gets the bounty on his head. But I wonder if, especially by the time I get to 4, with that much time passing, I wonder if he's just feeling kind of lost. Like, he's kind of hardened back into that mindset he was, where like you don't show emotion.
Yeah.
You know. I mean, I don't know. But that's a good point. I honestly hadn't really occurred to me.
I very much agree with that, Andrew. I never really thought about that much either, and I'm thinking about it, and I was like, when I watched the movies the first time, the reason why I wasn't a fan of 3 the first time I watched it is it's kind of that point of I know you said you didn't really get to see much of it in 2, but like when you're watching them all back to back, it's just like, for me, the effect of him just constantly shooting people in the head was part of not really working for me the first time I watched 3, and I think that point you kind of made is kind of like part of the reason why, since it's like, well, if you kind of like remove a bunch of the special things of what makes the action special or something, then since then my liking of the movie's grown more, but I just remember very much feeling that way of not liking 3, and when I got around to rewatching it, I was like, oh, this movie is better than I remember it.
Well, whenever with these movies, they always do something to up the action from the last one. And one of my favorite additions to the overall action is in John Wick 2, whenever he gets to Rome and he's going around and negotiating with all these people, like the sommelier for his weapons, the tailor for his suit and whatnot. I love the bulletproof suits.
Yeah.
That is so cool. I do like that they don't just poo-poo this away where he said, the bullets won't go through, but it's going to hurt like hell.
Yeah, it's not plot armor. It's not like a cheat code. Yeah.
And people shooting at John Wick and him pulling his lapel up over his face and shooting.
I went to second.
That's kind of become synonymous with the overall action aesthetic of the universe, is using clothing as a shield. I just think that's so cool.
Yeah, I hadn't even thought about that. And his suits always look cool. I need to know who his tailor is, because what
about
you think we can afford that tailor, Andrew?
If we split the cost 3 ways, I'll pay like $1, and then y'all can split the other parts.
Oh,
You know what?
if we each saved up every month and split the cost 3 ways, we might be able to get one suit made by the time we die of old age.
There we go.
Or if we just get in contact with Lawrence Fishburne, I mean, he can get you just about anything. Somebody, please
get
this man a gun. That's the thing I love that he's in these movies, because you see the chemistry between him and Keanu right off the bat, and it's just so fun. It's what it is actually. What a lot of people don't realize is that John Wick is actually set in the Matrix universe, because Neo and Morpheus are in a version of the Matrix playing these characters, and but they have these personas so that Smith can't know that he won't realize that it's them, you know.
I really wish I could believe that.
Is just every single action movie just exists somewhere within the Matrix?
Yes. Actually, every
single
movie,
action movie ever.
Actually, I'll do a step further. Every movie that's had Keanu Reeves since the Matrix actually is set in the Matrix. Because think about it, we don't know a lot about Neo in those movies. We know he hates his job and probably his life, but we don't really learn more about that much about him outside of that. We learn a little bit with John Wick in each movie, but maybe that's just this is the life that Neo wish he had.
I suppose.
I'm gonna. No, I'm kidding. I guarantee you, there's got to be a video essay out there about this. No, see, I'm further proving the point that not everything has to have a connection or be tied to something. It can be its own thing, which is why, you know. So
now, each John Wick film has had a different, you know, set of antagonists. John Wick 1, you had Yosef and Vigo Tarasov. John Wick 2, you had Santino D'Antonio and Marcus, played by Common. John Wick 3, you had the Adjudicator and Zero. And then John Wick 4, you had Kane and the Marquis. Which film has had your favorite antagonists?
It's got to be 4. I hate to keep going back to that, but Bill Skarsgård, I mean, dude, he is so cold and chilling, and Donnie Yen, great too. Dude loves playing blind characters, but he's good at it. Like, I mean, and I don't like, you know, I used to think he was actually blind, because I'd only ever seen him as a blind character, but but just like how just cold-blooded Bill Skarsgård is. I mean, even with like getting to the point of like telling Winston he's gonna die, or like he's gonna be killed because of whatever. He blows up his Continental just because a technicality, you know, like he has no hesitation to do anything. And don't get me wrong, the other movies are all great in their own way, but I gotta go with 4.
How about you, Spencer?
I honestly ditto to all that. I mean, honestly, here's the thing.
Yeah.
I as I said in the beginning bit of me talking about John Wick, John Wick 4 is my favorite one, and I really do think it's just like the best quintessential movie, in my opinion, to one up pretty much everything with all the others.
Sure.
And so, and I think that did really show of just great supporting villains and main villains, right? I mean, it's kind of weird of like the first character I thought of when you asked that question was was it Donnie Yen's character or whatever there, but I was like, is he really a villain at the end of the day though? He's like kind of like a gray area, I guess. You know what I mean? Of like,
because his daughter's being held. Yeah.
Opposing force.
Yeah.
But yeah, and so
his motive is not villain. Yeah. It's his daughter's being held and his wife.
Right. And so, you know, he's one of those characters that walks the line though.
His intentions are good in the situation he's in. Like, they're not necessarily on their own good intentions, but the cards he's been dealt, you know.
Everybody's the hero of their own story. And something that a lot of people forget whenever they're watching a movie, I'll actually use The Last Jedi as an example of this. You know, everybody criticizes, well, why didn't Admiral Holdo just tell Poe her plan? It's like, okay, we know Poe. We know he's important to us as a character because he's one of the central characters of that trilogy. Who is he to her?
Right.
You know, because as far as she knows, he's just a pilot who's coming up and demanding answers from his superior, who's his commanding officer.
And she'll have what, maybe 30 seconds to try and explain everything. It's not realistic, you know.
and there's always in-universe context for a lot of these things. I mean, granted, you know, in a lesser written film, you can kind of write it off as just a writing mistake. But with these big budget AAA movies, a lot of these things happen with in-universe context to go off of. And John Wick is a shining example of that because nothing in those movies happens for no reason.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. But, yeah, Donnie Yen as Kane, that was a...
I heard... I think it was not long after 4 came out, there was a whole like future John Wick projects in the works. One was a video game, an anime series, a movie with Kane, I believe.
Yeah, I think.
And then obviously Ballerina.
Or a mini series centering on Kane and how he deals with the daughter of the Osaka Continental seeking revenge on him.
You know, I would prefer for it to be a movie instead of a show. Only because since Lionsgate makes the John Wick franchise, I don't know what streaming service that would be on. It'd probably be on one we've never even heard of. You know, like how the Continental was on Peacock.
Yeah.
You know, like
Yuck.
I doubt it would be like on Max. Like, you know, so like that's the only thing is I think it'd be cool if it was like a movie.
I agree. I really hope we get that. I mean,
yeah,
right.
I mean, the fight between Donnie Yen and Hiroyuki Sanada in John Wick 4 is beautiful. And Hiroyuki Sanada is probably one of my favorite Japanese actors. I mean, this man, you think of a great samurai film, and it probably has him in it.
Yeah.
He's just so great.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll be curious to see where they take that particular plot thread.
Yeah. Also, and the other thing I like too is when we meet a new location for the Continental, there's not like a big exposition dump on them and their stuff. It's like you said, it's almost like they write these movies like how characters would really talk if they were in these scenarios. So it's like this Continental has been here for however it's well established, but I'm not going to spend the next 3 minutes telling you its whole life story. John Wick's coming here, you know, and he's known these people. We're meeting them for the first time, but they have acquaintanceship, I guess, is the way to put it. So,
and between the movies, now, granted, I haven't seen the Continental series.
I haven't. No, I haven't.
I can't go off of that, but so far in the movies, we've seen 4 different Continental hotels. We've seen New York, we've seen Rome, we've seen Osaka, and we've seen Prague in the Ballerina.
Mm-hmm.
So, and so speaking of Ballerina, I do want to touch on that here a little bit because people had mixed expectations with this movie when it came out. Now, the biggest one that I saw get thrown around the time of release was Girl Boss. Now, let's talk about that for a second. Now, a girl boss is synonymous with a Mary Sue. It's just a female character who's good at everything, can do anything, fails at nothing just because the plot demands that she does. Ballerina, Ana de Armas, plays a character named Eve. She's not that.
She literally was trained from like 6.
She was trained from the time she was 6. And best of all throughout the movie, she struggles in every single fight. She gets the snot beaten out of her.
Well, and there's even the training scene when she's still at the Resco Roma and she's fighting this bigger guy, and she says, "Well, he's stronger than me." And the lady was like, she said, "Strength is always going to be an issue for you. What you need to do is control the terms of the fight.
Yeah,
fight to your strengths," which I thought was really cool. I thought that was well written. Like I kind of butchered it there, but you know.
Well, definitely. And now, granted, but Ballerina wasn't directed by Chad Stahelski. I forget who the director was, but I mean,
I can't read that small. I gotta look it up.
still maintains the overall feel of the universe. You know, that hyper
Lynn
stylized.
Wiseman was the director.
Len Wiseman. I believe he directed what was it, Deadpool 2?
Let me see. Let me fact check that.
I forget what else he's directed, but and every time I see it, I go onto IMDb and I've looked it up like twice before, and I can never commit it to memory. I don't know why.
Oh, he directed a couple of the Underworld movies.
Yes, he directed the Underworld movies.
He did not direct Deadpool 2, however.
Okay.
So his okay, as far as directing goes, he's done basically like all the Underworld movies and then like Ballerina.
Okay.
Oh, he did Live Free or Die Hard. I actually really liked that movie.
Okay. Now,
I mean, in comparison to the other Die Hard movies,
but Ballerina. If I had one major complaint about that movie, and it's just the fact that it struggles a bit with the world building, more so than the other. It's through no fault of the movie its own. It's just kind of on the writing here, and plus it's a much more small scale film for this universe, and so they didn't have to cram in quite as much context or world building as they would with the other movies. But the main thing was this cult that she went up against. We knew nothing about it by the end. We knew that they would take children and them to be killers, and they all lived in this town. And the only other thing that we hear is, the Continental kills for business, they kill for sport. And it's like, okay, well that's a cool concept, but they don't do anything with that. It's a line that's thrown to us to kind of establish the context of what she's up against, but we never see them kill for sport. But I
don't know if you noticed, Cam, but the leader of the cult, he's the dad from Hereditary.
Is he really? I thought he looked familiar.
Yeah, not that, but I had a lot of fun with Ballerina. I went into it obviously coming off John Wick 4 with not John Wick 4 expectations, but I was really excited for it. I was like, okay, when I saw the trailers, I was like, it looks cool. I'm not a fan of the full title, starting out with From the World of John Wick, Ballerina. I think if they did Ballerina from the world of John Wick, like Rogue One, a Star Wars story, not a Star Wars story, Rogue One, because I feel like they kind of did that to get people to see the movie, like, oh, this is John Wick, But yeah, outside of the little bit of the world building there, I thought it was really good, and a sequel's already been greenlit for it. So, and one thing I loved, because I was concerned going into it that John Wick was going to be a, oh, hey, look at me kind of character. But because the timeline is between John Wick 3 and 4, he actually fits in the story. And he's not a scene stealer in the sense of like, okay, there's Ana de Armas, now I'm watching Keanu Reeves. It's like, no, we're watching Ana de Armas, and there's Keanu Reeves. So
well, their first interaction that they have with each other, where and now mind you, this interaction between John Wick and Eve is my favorite interaction that John Wick has with any character. So this movie has that going for it, but it's where she's kind of showering him with, oh, you're the Baba Yaga, all the students talk about you, blah blah blah, and she says, how do I get out of here? And he says, the front door is unlocked.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, oh, that's so perfect. That's such a great like a double meaning kind of response.
Yeah.
She says, no, I mean, how do I get out and do what you do? Now, mind you, this is just after she took her first life within the Ruska Roma, where she killed her ballerina candidate sitting in front of her. But now, mind you, that's the second life she's taken, but still, she says, how do I do what you do? And he kind of looks at her. He looks at her and he says, it looks like you already have.
Well, she has this like magic look in her eyes, and you can almost tell from him, he's like, oh no, like this is not what it's made out to be. Like, because she's like, why did you come back, or why didn't you get out? And he's like, I'm still working on it. But yeah, I really liked that interaction. So
yeah, and at that towards the end, whenever Eve and John Wick finally face off, I am so glad. I am so glad that it wasn't one of those. We introduced this character just to have them one up the legacy character. It's like no, John Wick beats the crap out of her, and
yeah, I'm sorry. There's no way she would have been able to take John Wick. I mean,
no,
there's even with all the training, and I mean, you watch the other movies. There are plenty of guys that can't even take John Wick. So it's like,
yeah.
you know,
I'm glad that they maintained that overall character superiority. It's like, okay, yeah, Eve is skilled, but she's like, yeah, she's nowhere near John Wick's level, and that shines choreography.
Yeah.
She's getting thrown around, she's getting beaten down, and like 4 or 5 times he has like a gun to her head, a knife to her throat, and he says, "Just leave, just leave."
Yeah, he doesn't want to kill her. He's trying to get her to get out. And that's what I like. It's going to add to her character growth in the sequel and any other projects she's in. Because if by the end she could take down John Wick, it's like, where do you go from here? Like,
right, exactly. And
so,
she and what with her getting beaten up so much throughout the movie, and what we had talked about this in the chat, the other day, she fights it. I mean, and John Wick is very, calm and focused and just like very in the zone. She's yelling, screaming, throwing herself around, and trying to fight dirty, and that's awesome. And speaking of fighting dirty, holy crap! I mean, this movie, I mean, she has the grenade like tied around the guy's neck, and has him over a table and uses that table as a shield while it blows his head off, and it's just so good.
But the coolest part of the entire movie is the flamethrower.
Yeah.
You can't tell me that's not one of the coolest things you've ever seen in a movie. Like, come on.
That was one of those things that I didn't know I needed to see, and then I saw that.
I thought he was about to say that I didn't like. I was like, what?
No.
Yeah.
It was one of those things that just like, I didn't know I needed an awesome flamethrower battle, or how it even worked like that. And then they did something great there, which is fantastic. I love that so much.
But the more I think about... Oh, sorry.
I was going to say, whenever she and I have their flamethrowers crossed and they're kind of like turning around, all I can think of in my head was da 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 dum dun 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 dun.
Maybe that's why they did that.
Yeah, right.
Also, too, I never thought I would say I liked a movie titled Ballerina. Like, that's just not a sentence I ever thought I would say. But as I've been thinking the last almost hour here, there is one man, I think, that could take down John Wick. Now, he's not in the John Wick universe. Oh, I thought Cam would know where I was going with that.
No, I don't.
He's one of the action stars of the early 2000s.
I swear to God, if you're about to say Steven Seagal, I'm kicking you off this damn show.
No, I just forgot his name. Actually, I don't remember. Steven Seagal could be sitting on a chair, and John Wick comes up to him and just. Yeah. I had to bring him into the stream at some point. No,
yeah.
I would.
John Wick sees Steven Seagal coming, and the best John Wick can do is just.
The best that John Wick could do is run upstairs.
He knows Steven Seagal won't follow him. Steven Seagal would go those stairs and be like, get up the stairs.
I need a McDouble.
Steven Seagal, we watch our streams. We just want you to know, we don't like you. But anyways,
so I'm curious. Where do we think the potential sequel with Ballerina will go? Because obviously it's been announced.
So
I'm just curious.
Any ideas, Spencer?
I don't know. Before we do talk about that, I just want to say I was pleasantly really enjoyed by the quality of Ballerina, because I remember going into it, I was really concerned about it, because I don't know if you all remember that supposedly they had to scrap a bunch of the movie and rework a bunch of the action and stuff into it. So anytime I feel like you're something like that, I feel like that was a big red flag. So knowing that was a thing,
it can be, yeah.
I was really concerned about it, and so I'm glad it turned out to be a really good movie. And I think part of what helped it is that it was a very, as you said earlier, Cam, it's a very what's the word? The word just left me. Self-contained movie. There we go.
Very
It's a
small.
very small scale, self-contained movie, and so it's one of those that had one story to tell. It told that story, and I kind of don't know at all what it would do for a sequel. Now, if they find the right story for a sequel, I'm absolutely open to it, though.
Well, and I think that's the interesting part, because if they do a time jump and it's after John Wick 4, obviously John Wick won't be in it. So
Right.
it would be just her. But it's kind of like that's what the first John Wick movie did. That was a very smaller, compared to the others, a very smaller scale, self-contained story. And of course, it's built up with each one. So I think, hopefully, with Ballerina, they can do that. They can take what was really good about this movie and just continue to improve on that. Now, I don't know if we're necessarily going to get 4 of them, but
I'd be okay with one more.
Yeah.
Now, I think what a Ballerina sequel would need to do is, here's the thing about the John Wick movies, like the 4 mainline John Wick movies. One thing that really gives the entire series a great feeling of consistency is the fact that, through all the fighting, everything, he's technically still fighting one big villain, which is the High Table. Everything that has done under the High Table,
and we've never even seen the High Table. So
no, we have.
Yeah.
Now with the character of Eve, she's already established herself as being an enemy to this death cult.
Mm-hmm.
There's no way she killed everybody there. Bring them back.
No. Yeah.
And somebody, come back for revenge. Maybe somebody saw her kill the guy or something and is like, oh, well, I gotta avenge this person now or something. And then, continue hinting at the High Table having their hands and everything, sure. But I do think that the Ballerina would benefit greatly from continuing its main plot line of having Eve be the primary antagonist of this.
Well, and I like that she doesn't kill everyone from the cult, because again, it'd be like, well, where do you go? Like, she's already accomplished all this, because even John Wick doesn't kill that many people in the first movie, and he's John Wick. So if she took out like a whole cult, that would be like, okay. Yeah. Like, taking out a couple here and there is realistic, but yeah, a whole cult on your own, even if it was a guy, I'd be like, okay, that's a little not as grounded, So,
well, we'll see where it goes. I am definitely excited to see Kane again.
Yeah,
one of my favorite characters in the series. There's so much to him that I just really, really love. Hell, have it be a Kane and Eve team up movie.
Yeah,
that could work.
Well, I was realizing today when I was rewatching some of Ballerina, just real quick, how early they started shooting this, because obviously Lance Riddick is in it, and he died in early 2023, which was just before John Wick 4 came out. So they for sure started shooting this late 2022, early 2023, just based on that. So maybe that was one of the early shoots, and then the rest of it is like some of the reshooting.
Well, I know that I think this is Lance Reddick's last film credit.
Oh gosh, because he was in Percy Jackson season 1, and he's in a short scene because he's Zeus, and he was so cool as that, but unfortunately, he passed not long after that season came out, and so they're having to recast him. But it's sad when for anyone, but when someone dies, and I think he was sick with something, but it was,
I don't recall.
He might not have been. You know what? I don't think he was, because it was unexpected. Because I even remember getting the notification. I was like, what the heck? Like,
kept a secret.
But, so yeah, I was just realizing that when I remember in the theater seeing it, I was like, oh wow, so they started filming this years ago.
Yeah. Now, if it's one thing that I'm happy that we got from Lance Reddick with these movies, it's of John Wick 3. Whenever he goes out and just starts blowing fools away.
Yeah, that was cool.
So good, you think, oh, he's the hotel concierge, he's just the man, but no, he comes out and he's matching it with the best of them. I love whenever they start fighting and they realize that the guys are wearing bulletproof armor.
Mm-hmm.
And Keanu Reeves comes back. He's like, "Need bigger bullets."
And he gets these like bullets that are like this.
Yeah. And Lance Reddick pulls the stuff down, and he goes, something steel slugs. I'm a piece.
Yeah. So good.
Yes. I mean, these movies have a way of delivering fan service, which we had no idea we wanted.
Yeah.
Like who would have thought that in John Wick 4 we get Scott Adkins in a fat suit? I mean,
yeah,
incredible.
He looked like a live action Ramsbottom from Despicable Me.
And even in that fat suit, he was still kicking ass. And
yeah, I know. He was like, and he was like, he couldn't die. Like he fell like 2 stories or 3 stories, and it obviously he protected himself. You know, he fell on himself. I was like, this dude won't die. You know?
People don't give Scott Adkins enough credit. I mean, that the guy is a good actor.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, he had a very he's
he's a martial artist himself too.
Oh yes, very accomplished martial artist. I mean, he's been active since, geez, like early 2000s.
Yeah. He was in some of the IP movies, Ninja. You know.
Oh yeah, there's that. He was also in was it Bloodsport or was that Michael Jai White? I don't remember.
I'm not seeing Bloodsport on here.
He was in the movie Unleashed with Jet Li.
Yes.
He's one of the pit fighters in that movie. I mean the guy is just he's so good at what he does, and it's kind of like Dave Bautista. You know, people know these actors for the action they're doing. You know, Dave Bautista is ex pro wrestler. Scott Adkins is a martial artist, but they don't give them credit for the range they have. I mean, Dave Bautista, he goes from Drax in Guardians of the Galaxy to Sapper Morton in Blade Runner 2049,
and then even in Dune.
In Dune, yeah, he's the Beast Raban.
Yeah,
just so much range. And then Scott Adkins, I mean, he has a very convincing German accent. First of all,
he's not German.
No, he's British.
Dang. Okay. Very impressive then.
If you ever think of it, there's an interview on YouTube that you can watch. I think it's like an hour long. It's between Scott Adkins actually goes on and interviews Keanu Reeves.
Oh, nice. About
action and all that stuff. Pretty interesting watch. I had it on one day as I was folding about 4 tons worth of laundry.
Nice.
And it was an enjoyable listen. I really liked it. I mean,
I gotta check it out.
Scott Adkins and Keanu Reeves just have really good relational chemistry. Yeah.
Well, and just off the Dave Bautista stuff, John Cena, he was in some silly projects, but you watch him as Peacemaker in Suicide Squad and Peacemaker.
Yeah,
dude can act. I mean, his range is so good, and he's well, and what people don't understand is wrestling is acting. Like that's all plot and written out. So these guys are actors, even though they're wrestlers. Maybe first, they're not coming in. I mean, some actors, not all wrestlers are good actors or turn into be good actors, but a lot of them, they've already done acting. So I'm boring Cam with this, and so
I the last few nights, and so it's
sorry. Sorry about that. But anyway, my spiel is over there, so I'm kind of talking in circles. So
yeah, well, I mean, there's really a lot to love when it comes to character performances in John Wick movies. I mean, Ian McShane as Winston.
Oh yeah,
I think great. He really plays that that kind of cocky hotel manager who knows he's holding all the cards. And until John Wick 4, whenever that all gets turned around, but I mean, everybody just does such a great job. What's the guy's name who played Yosef Tarasov? I can't remember his name, but he played a character in Game of Thrones that nobody liked.
There's a lot of those
playing punch-based characters, but
Alfie Allen.
Alfie Allen, yes, not even Russian. And
Oh, I forgot until just looking up now that Willem Dafoe is in John Wick 1.
Willem Dafoe is in John Wick
True.
1. And so is Kevin Nash.
Yeah.
He-
Dean Winters too.
Yeah.
He's the Allstate
yeah.
guy.
They're outside the club.
Oh, John Leguizamo.
Tomo, yep. He played Aurelio.
He was like, yeah, he was the car guy.
And he also plays the pest.
Yeah, I knew you were gonna say that.
He also
We got to do that at some point.
Well, I was actually thinking about that for our bad movie.
You know, we're due for a bad movie. Maybe we do that next week.
Yeah, well, if we can find
Because it's on Tubi, I think.
Oh, it is on Tubi. Okay,
Let me fact. I'm pretty sure it's on Tubi. The last I checked.
Andrew's
Think of
been
a
waiting to
movie
watch it.
between 3 years ago and the beginning of time. It's probably on Tubi.
Yeah, well, yeah. If that is our
Yes,
plan,
it is.
Okay, yeah. If that's our plan, I'm actually gonna get a buddy of mine to be on the show with us for that one because
Nice.
so that this was actually a guy that I used to work with at the dermatology office down in Florida, and I don't remember how the conversation came about, but we both found out that we both loved that movie.
Oh yeah.
And now, well, I say now, I haven't worked there in several months, but every day he and I would quote the movie in response to something
That's
going
awesome.
on today. So yeah, I think we can do that for next week.
I was watching. I came across this account on Instagram. I can't remember the name, but they will share like Tubi original movies and like the performances and stuff like this. And it's so funny. Like I don't know who's approving these, but Tubi's not known for their original content. You know,
He's not known.
Oh, that's true, but it's very, very underrated. I mean, they've got a great library of stuff outside of their original content. So.
Yeah, they've got B movies, C movies, you know.
F. Yeah.
F.
I mean, like but what I like is the variety of things. Like I said, pretty much think of almost any movie, and it's like they had Everything Everywhere All at Once. I think was on there briefly.
Really? That's
I'm pretty sure it was either that or like Pluto TV. I remember seeing that because I was like, what? That's why I said anytime between 3 years ago and the beginning of the late 1800s, you know?
Yeah.
Because that's how I watched the original Nosferatu on Tubi.
I need to watch that still.
Yeah, it's a silent film, and I didn't know that going into it.
I knew that. I think that's an important thing to know going into it.
Yeah. Because it would be like this. It would be like there's music.
Hear them talking.
Yeah, because music. It'd be like this. Because the movie's like an hour and 20 minutes, and it felt like forever. Because it was like, and then it would show what they said. But still a good movie.
How long were you messing with your volume, Andrew? Go on.
Oh, a little bit. Because I was like, I'm hearing the music, but there's no audio. Like, what is going on? Yeah.
But a funny story about messing with the volume. So, but when I was like 18 or 19, I was hanging out. I was hanging out with a bunch of friends, and we were at someone's house. We were all playing drinking games, and getting trashed, whatever. And we all just had a blast for a while. We drove home that night. I was sitting in the front seat next to the person who was driving, and
really.
And a song came on the radio, and I'm like, oh my god, I love this song. I haven't heard it forever. And so I go to turn up the volume. I'm turning the knob. I'm like, why is nothing happening? I'm turning it this way and that, and she just starts laughing. I'm like, what the hell's so funny? And she says, Cam, that's my AC dial. I had to think about it for a second. I actually double checked. I looked at it. I was like, oh, I'll be damned.
Man, that's funny. That's one of those, like, can we just forget the last 30 seconds, you know?
Yeah, exactly. It's like, I really wish I could just go back and, like, edit out that 30 seconds of my life just because that was so embarrassing, but, you know.
Yeah. Hey, I have those moments all the time, so, you know, sometimes on air, sometimes off air, so. And I'm not even, like, drinking stuff. I'm just having like tea or water, and I start getting all crazy and stuff. You know.
And Andrew's sitting back drinking his spiked water, and he gets on the show. He's like, "Let me tell you this thing about what movie are we talking about again?"
Well, like after 2 or 3 glasses of water, that's when my Asian impression starts to come out, and so I have to be mindful of how much water I have before the show. So, yeah.
Just imagine.
Oh my gosh.
All right. Now,
I can't do.
I'm actually going to stop my video here just so that you guys don't have to see me scrolling. But I am going to go through and read off some fun facts about the John Wick movies.
About the John Wick.
I have to off the fun fact about the John Wick movie.
And Michael's thoughts too. I know we were gonna mention those.
All right, so Chad Stahelski was Keanu Reeves' stunt double in the Matrix trilogy. The character was almost called Scorn instead of John Wick, but Keanu liked John Wick so much that they kept on using it in interviews. He kept on using it in interviews, so the studio changed the name. The original script was written with a 65-year-old retired hitman in mind.
I knew that one, yeah.
Let's see. Keanu did about 90% of his own stunts, including car chases. He trained in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, Judo, and Sambo, as well as 3 gun shooting drills, rifle, shotgun, and pistol. Let's see here. Stahelski cited Hong Kong action cinema, anime, and graphic novels, and spaghetti westerns as key influences.
Nice.
The gold coin economy of the Continental was never fully explained on purpose. It was meant to feel like a mythology thing used through ritual, not exposition. Let's see. Mythology glimpsed through ritual, not exposition. Sorry about that. The neon-drenched look and symmetry of the films draws inspiration from directors like John Woo, Sergio Leone, and Nicholas Winding Refn. John Woo, I'm actually pretty familiar with. The last movie I watched of his was Face Off.
Ah, nice.
With John Travolta and Nicolas Cage. So, according to Chad Stahelski, Ian McShane was given very little backstory direction. Stahelski just told him, just be the king of cool.
Interesting, okay.
Halle Berry was a fan of the series. She specifically asked to join John Wick 3, and she trained with Keanu Reeves and his stunt team so she could do her John Wick 3. Keanu Reeves performed the car drifting while reloading a gun stunt himself in Chapter 2.
Nice.
The nightclub fight in Chapter 1 was filmed across multiple real New York clubs, and Reeves did his fight choreography soaked in cold water for hours. So it probably helped to get him in the mood.
Yeah.
Let's see. Here we go. So Chad Stahelski said that he wanted each sequel to feel like a different subgenre of action film. Chapter 1 being a revenge noir, Chapter 2 being an operatic crime saga, Chapter 3 being a survival western, and Chapter 4 being a samurai epic.
I see it.
Keanu Reeves gave all of his stunt team personalized Rolex Submariner watches after Chapter 4.
Wow.
Nice. And here we go. The Baba Yaga nickname is actually a mistranslation. Baba Yaga in Slavic folklore is a witch. The writers tweaked it because it, quote unquote, sounded right.
Nice.
And there are, quite a lot of Matrix references. Obviously, we have Morpheus, guns, lots of guns. Yeah, I mean, these movies are just soaked with love for the genre.
Mm-hmm. You know, the guy that John Wick's loosely based off of, the real life hitman, It's based off of a hitman from Texas, I believe, and I think it was something similar where actually his dog was killed, and he went on like a killing spree. So that part of John Wick is loosely based on that guy, I think, is what I heard correctly.
I could see that.
Interesting.
All right. Well, I'd say we can go ahead and start wrapping it up here. Does anybody have any final thoughts about the John Wick movies? I will start with Andrew.
Ah, man, I was hoping to ditto Spencer. All right. No, really, really good top tier action movies. If you haven't watched them already and you're still listening to the stream at this point, I don't know what you're doing. You should have been watching them because we've spoiled a bunch of things. Sorry, spoilers, folks. Definitely go check them out. They're a lot of good, and I just like them. I like the world building, everything about it. I mean, there's really not much that I don't like about these movies.
Sure.
And so, yeah.
All right. How about you, Spencer?
Yeah, it really is a great franchise so far. At least as far as all the movies go. I haven't watched the show yet, and I've heard don't bother with it. So we'll just act like that doesn't exist. But
It's a Atomic Blonde. It's like a wannabe John Wick.
See, that's too nice to say about it from what I've heard. But anyway,
we'll have the Asian female version of John Wick. We'll call her Jane Walk.
oh my gosh.
Oh god. Okay, I have to make that thing now.
But anyway, no, it's just a great franchise. I really like it, and well, it's been a fun time talking about it.
Yes, definitely. And for me, it's kind of the same. You know, the series really took the world and myself, you know, completely by surprise, and I love it from back to front. Keanu Reeves, what a guy! I love him to death. And Ballerina shows a promising direction for the spin-offs that this series could be taking. So definitely looking forward to more of that. Now, shameless plugs. We'll start with Andrew.
Yeah, you can catch me over on the Feast of Phantoms YouTube channel for 2 nights out of the week. First off, on Monday nights, we have MCU Monday, where we go live at 8:30 Central Standard Time to discuss. We're doing our weekly Jessica Jones reviews. We're almost done with season 1. We have 3 episodes left, including this week's, I believe. And then Thursday nights over on the Cantina Happy Hour, also at 8:30 Central Standard Time, at night, not in the morning. Just need to specify that. We're doing the Clone Wars. We just finished season 1 last week, so we will be beginning with season 2. Actually, yes, and then we have the Lego special coming out on the 24th, which I'm looking forward to, because those Rebuild the Galaxy, that was always fun. The Lego specials are always fun, so be a lot of fun. And I'll be back here next week discussing who knows what. So yeah.
All right, Spencer.
Let's see. Tomorrow night, my D&D campaign, The Trail of Conspiracy, continues. Sometime within the next few days. I haven't fully decided on what day is yet. Probably like Monday or Tuesday or tomorrow. I don't know. Some point is, I will be putting out my Batman video I recorded last week. I meant to already have it put up, and then I got just distracted with being sick and that being the last thing on my mind. And then me and Andrew will be back on Saturday to talk about Peacemaker season 2 to make up for missing last night. We will be talking about both episode 4 as well as episode 5.
Nice.
All right. Well, that'll do it for today's episode of Cam and Focus Weekly. Thank you everybody for joining me. Thank you Andrew and Spencer for coming on to talk about John Wick. Be sure to catch us over on Feast of Fandoms Thursday night. You'll also find me back with the Cantina Happy Hour. So there's that. And then next week, you know, we're kind of going through a pattern here. It's a bad movie, okay movie, good movie topic. Bad movie, okay movie topic. And so I guess we're our bad movie next week. So yeah, I mean, if the Pest is on Tubi, let's freaking do it. Let's do the Pest.
All right.
Now, word to the wise, it's definitely a 90s movie. There's a lot of humor in that movie that's not acceptable by today's standard.
I love 90s humors. I grew up on movies like that. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it because that's my kind of humor. So
Yeah.
I mean, I just died laughing at Jane Walk. What do you expect, folks? I mean, we need to start crowdfunding that. Start
Right.
hashtag make Jane walk. Let's get it going.
And the only one of us here that's allowed to direct it is Cam. All
Yeah.
right,
Yes.
we gotta.
That's right.
That's the important part right there.
Yes.
Give your son to me. He killed my dog. Have a good night, everybody. Thanks again for joining.